Excuse me. Why does the combat in the Arkham series of Batman games feel so good? Is it because you get to be Batman, or is there more to it than that? Let's be honest, we all want to be Batman, and the Arkham series of games, most recently Arkham Knight, makes good on the fantasy of superhero vigilantism like never before. It is everything an aspiring Avenger of Justice such as myself could dream of. You can prowl Gotham's rooftops and spires, you get to drive around in the Batmobile, and then there's all those wonderful toys. But its greatest asset, if I may be so bold, is the articulate combat system, which lets you express yourself as Batman through a limitless chain of slams and beatdowns. The combat is superb, and this has grapple-gunned the Arkham titles to a perch above the previous Batman games. The series has spurred 4 games to huge sales, and unlike the majority of licensed games which are absolute crap, this one has achieved critical praise. On top of that, the melee has proved infectious, inspiring a legion of lookalikes. This made me wonder, what makes fighting in Arkham so great? So for today's episode, we'll turn our echolocation to Batman Arkham's brilliant melee combat. And to understand why Arkham's combat is so special, we need to look back at what Batman's combat used to be. The very first inklings of hand-to-hand combat were found in the original Batman for the NES. Much like Shinobi and Ninja Gaiden, it was the type of game where enemies are seemingly covered in deadly nettles so that you die the moment you bump into them. But hey, criminals were a lot less sophisticated in those days. These games used a simple combat mechanic called the touch damage model, where as long as enemies collided with your attacks, you damaged and likely killed them. Next came the beat 'em up, and being the dark brooding crime fighter that he is, Batman stepped up his game. Batman Returns was cast in the same mold, such as classics as Streets of Rage and Final Fight. For the first time, combat shifted away from being an abstract collision on screen that only resembled the idea of a fight to portraying actual fisticuffs. According to World of Warcraft designer Louis Barriga, combat became representational, so that the animation of one character's foot, fist, or lead pipe was required to strike another character to dent the old damage meter. It's like when artists discovered linear perspective to represent the anatomy of buildings during the Renaissance. I know you're wondering how I was going to connect Batman to art history, so you're welcome. There was now a simple system in place that could model the way the body actually worked. And because these were representations of actual people fighting, it no longer made sense to punch a bad guy one time and have them flicker off into the ether. Many different combinations of animations were needed to seem realistic, and so the combo is born. When games jumped to 3D, the combo tagged along. Games like Batman Begins and The Warriors, for instance, gave players the ability to lash out in 360 degrees. But it wasn't until advancements in animation, like skeletal manipulation and poses that blend into one another, that seamless combat like Arkham's was even possible. And the result is this sprawling fistfight of Spartan proportions that only Batman could win. If you look at the fight punch by punch, you can see just how important it is to making you feel like Batman. So, how does the combo system rise above the sum of its knuckle-cracking parts? To find out, we now join a non-proprietary Bat-ish man on the roofs of Manhattan for a breakdown. So combos in Arkham look crazy advanced and complicated, but at a basic level, they're easy to understand. There are 2 alternating parts of any combo, the strike frame and the link frame. So for a basic 3-hit combo, I would punch some poor extra in the face, bring my fist down, then knee them in the crotch tastefully and respectfully, then lower my foot, then kick them to the ground. As long as you keep these hits going in rhythm, the combo continues to build and you reap the rewards. After 3 hits, for instance, Batman kicks into an extra gear called free flow mode. And after 8 hits, Batman has built up enough mojo that he can perform a takedown. But not all takedowns are created equally, and this is where all the tricky timing gives way to a little layer of strategy. Arkham is all about crowd control. Enemies flood the screen, so how you deal with the mob is crucial. At this point, you have a couple options. You can spend your combo and deal a death blow to a solitary nuisance, or you can use it to get everyone off your back by stunning them with a swarm of bats, naturally. Or you can knock off all the bad guys who you've already slung to the ground. Wait, Batman doesn't kill, right? And these choices lend the games a degree of player agency, where your actions have influence. And this is important. As Deus Ex designer Warren Spector has said, every other medium answers questions, but games ask questions, and players can answer them through how they play. When you combine the combat choices with the option for stealth gameplay and swooping down from the rooftops for air attacks and swinging bad guys around with the bat claw, you start to realize how Batman is a big breakthrough in the brawler genre. In the past, these games have been about testing your skill against a designer, but Arkham turns the brawler into your personal playground. You're not only fighting like Batman, but thinking like him too. I think that's why so many people come away from these games with the feeling that I am Batman, or at least a totally incidental other Bat person who you won't get sued for. So what do you think? Why have the recent Batman games proven to be so popular? Hash it out in the comments, and if you like what you saw, please subscribe. I'll see you next week.